everyone. Welcome. We're just going to give it a minute or two for people to file in, and then we'll get started. And if you're just joining us, we're going to give it a minute or two for people to file in, and then we'll get started. We'll get started in about a minute for those that are just joining us. All right. Welcome everyone to night 2 of our Next Steps webinar for the Forsheimer Honors College. If you attended night 1, you heard from Housing and Student Accessibility Services. If you weren't able to attend night 1, we have the YouTube video for you guys. We will be sending that out next week, but we'll also post the link in the chat during this session as well. I'm going to start with some housekeeping things before I forget, and then we'll officially all introduce ourselves. We are going to be using the Q&A feature during this webinar and not the chat. So the Q&A feature, please put your questions there. We are going through orientation, advising, welcome week, schedule making, all of that. So what I would ask is if your question is on a topic we haven't gotten to yet, please hold your question until we get to that topic because it may get answered. And then if you felt we didn't answer it, you could definitely put it on in the Q&A. And we'll allow, if you do have 1 or 2 questions for housing or accommodations that you thought of since I think that was Tuesday night, we'll be talking about a little Cliff Notes version of that at the end of this presentation, and you could put your questions at the end. So please, like I said, use the Q&A. We will be recording, we are recording right now, this session, and this will also go on our YouTube channel and will be sent to you sometime next week as well. So with those housekeeping things, I'll get started officially. My name is Jackie Coppell. I am the Associate Dean of the Honors College. I am also an Honors alumna. I currently teach University 101, which is our Intro to University Life class. I also teach history courses, ancient history courses that many of you might be in the fall or next spring. And my cohort of students will each be saying our cohort of students that we advise. I advise the Seidenberg School, that are our computer science, information systems, IT, all of that. I will be helping out a little bit and doing some art and a few other little majors here and there for the New York City campus that I used to advise. But my main cohort is Seidenberg. I am based on spend most of my time on the New York City campus. That's where my cohort is based, but I do spend some time on the Pleasantville campus. I will pass it to Bill.
Hi, I'm Bill Offit. You should call me Bill. Say hi, Bill. Get started. I am the I am a history professor. Early American history is my field, and the honors faculty advisor. For honors, I am teaching 2 learning communities, both with the reacting to the past learning approach. I am also teaching 2 University 101s in New York. Those will have Lubin students. And for the summer, I am doing the schedules of Lubin students out in Pleasantville. So I do whatever they tell me to, and I'm going to pass it to Mohini.
Hi everyone, my name is Mohini Nieves. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Associate Director of the Honors College. Like Jackie, I'm also an honors alum. My background is in science and psychology. Before my cohort, I advise the science students. So that includes biology, chemistry, behavioral neuroscience, the health science students, environmental, all of that. I teach 2 University 101s that compose of those students. And I also teach in psychology. And for this summer, I'll be helping the Pleasantville students with Nori as well, or any of the College of Health profession students. and I'm going to pass it to Emma.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Kleinberg-Orlick. I'm an academic and success advisor, and I work with the Dyson Creative Majors. So that includes film and screen studies, English, language and literature, communication, media studies, art. There's a couple of others as well. But that's who I work with. I teach University 101 as well. So I look forward to seeing you all this summer. Oh, and I will pass to Flora.
Hi, everyone. My name is Flora Lees, but you can also call me Flora. I work with the performing arts major students, acting, directing, commercial dance, uh, per, um, production design, stage management. I know that there's a couple of curriculum changes with performance making, acting, major, but performing arts in general is me within honors. And I'm also the mentoring coordinator for the honors mentoring programs. And I will pass it over to Shad.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shadman Rahman. I advise the Lubin School of Business students, economics students, and math students on the New York City campus. Similar to Mohini and Jackie, I am also an honors alum. I'm going to be responsible for the schedules being made for our business students on the New York City campus. And I'm going to pass it on to Justin.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Justin. I'm an academic advisor here. I teach a few sections of University 101, so I might be your instructor for that. I also supervise the Honors Advisory Board, which is an internship within the Honors College. And my cohort is the Dyson Social Sciences, so poli-sci, criminal justice, peace and justice studies, things of that nature. And I will pass it to Tyler.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tyler Thier. I'm the senior thesis advisor. My cohort is basically everybody because the senior thesis is a requirement for honors graduation. And I will pass it over to Michelle.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Massa, and I am the staff associate for both the Pleasantville and the New York City campus. However, my office is based in Pleasantville, so any Pleasantville students online, you'll be seeing me in August. And I will pass it to Melissa.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm a student assistant for the Honors College in New York City. I'm a double major in international relations and history and a double minor in French and diplomacy. And I'm going to pass it on to Ben.
Hey yo, I'm Ben. I'm a sophomore here, and I am a major in hospitality and tourism management and double minor in Spanish and entrepreneurship. I'm a student aide, and I'm also an RA over at the NYC campus. So shout out to y'all dorming next year. And I will pass it to Nori.
Hi, I'm Nori. My background's in registered nursing. I also have my MBA from PACE. I'm a PACE alum. My cohorts are anything College of Health Professions and also Lubin Business, Marketing, Information Systems, and so on and so forth. I will be helped this summer by Mohini and Bill. And so if you have any questions, you can reach out to them. Mike, I've been a PACE alum for a very long time, played basketball here, love PACE, so I'll pass it to Taylor.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Powers. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm the Senior Academic and Success Advisor based in Pleasantville. My cohort is Dyson College of Arts and Sciences and the Seidenberg School for Computer Science and Information Systems. Sorry, my dog is in the background. If you hear a horse, that's what that is. I have not been around because I have been out on leave and will continue to be out on leave throughout the summer. But when I return, I will be working with all of you and also coordinating the mentors on the Pleasantville campus. I will give it back to Jackie to get the show on the road.
All right, so you've met our team. We have some more student aides that are not with us tonight, but that's okay. There'll be some new ones as well when you start in the fall. So if you couldn't get all that, because that was all oral, we have that visually for you as well. So we'll get started with our presentation. All right. So like I said, if you needed that visually, for this summer, if you see, I have the slide is titled Cohorts for the Summer. as Taylor said, Taylor is on leave and Nori is probably going back on leave. So if you attended a Pleasantville Pace Found, you didn't get a chance to meet the wonderful Taylor and Nori in person, but they will be back for our school year. So right now for the summer, so if you have summer questions, we've broken it down this way. So Seidenberg on both campuses, which is our computer science school, is going to be me. Lubin, our business school, Shad, New York City, Bill in Pleasantville. The College of Health Professions is going to be Mohini. That is both campuses, though the majority of our students in CHP are in Pleasantville. SANS is only one campus, it's New York City, so that'll be Flora. Dyson, it is quite large, is broken up. So Dyson Sciences, as Mo said, the hard sciences, biochem, environmental, all of that is going to be Mohini Nieves. I thought I got it in both spots, but she does not have two different personalities between the two College of Health Professions and Dyson, but it's Mohini Nieves on both. She recently got married. Dyson Social Sciences will be Justin, as he said, for both campuses. So that is our history, politics, peace and justice studies, women, gender studies, etc. Dyson Creative, also known as Dyson Humanities, will be Emma. For both campuses, which was that English and film and screen studies and things like that. So now if you needed email addresses, this is the crew broken down by campus. And so if you wanted any of our contact information, we have, as Tyler said, he doesn't have an advising cohort because he does the seniors and juniors for thesis. His email is there as well, and that is our staff. And Tyler's actually, if you have any thesis questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. Bill will be talking about the thesis towards the end of the presentation, but Tyler will be stepping out to actually attend a thesis. So any of us will be able to answer it though. So Nori, you want to get us started?
Absolutely. So you guys may be thinking, what do you do now, right? The first thing that you should concentrate on is your honors questionnaire. Why? Because it gives us the information about you. It lets us know a little information about you before we meet you, and then allows us to select classes for you based on what you're interested in. And it also sign up for orientation. Honors mentee profile. This is also very important. Every incoming freshman gets an honor mentor to help them through the process of their first year. So if you upon submitting your profile, somebody will make sure you are matched with a mentor before you get here. Take your English and math self-assessments. I cannot impart how important this is. Please, please, please get this done. It allows us also to create your schedules based on your assessments, and all are due by May 15th at the latest.
So these are the orientation dates. The students are required to at least attend one of these orientation dates. Whether you're on the New York City campus, you'll attend the New York City ones, or if you're on the Pleasantville campus, you will attend the Pleasantville. And it's a 2-day event, so you do have to stay over, and you have to pack everything that you would be like taking as if you were sleeping in an actual dorm. If you cannot attend the ones that are in person for either New York City or Pleasantville, you do have to have an option of attending online, which is on July 21st and August 18th for the city campus, and on August 4th for the Pleasantville campus.
And we have the start dates are the honors preferred dates. You are welcome to attend any session. We will be present at every one that is on this slide, but the honors preferred are the ones with stars on both campuses. That's the first 2 in June in the city, 1 in June in Pleasantville, and the 1st in July. And that just means there's going to be a lot more honors students there. Great chance for you to find a roommate and kind of get the full experience. But I promise you, we will be at every single one. But those are the majority of our students will be at the first 2. And to tell you a little bit more about orientation, I think it's Mohini.
Me, yep. So like Michelle mentioned, it is a 2-day experience and you are required to stay overnight even if you're a commuter. If you need any accommodation related to this though, you have to reach out to us or reach out to accommodations to organize that. Besides that, everyone else is expected to stay overnight even if you live nearby. Your roommate for that night is going to be random. They do pair you with the same gender. And for our orientation, we do have honors parent, family. They also are using the term setter supporter sessions. Anyone who's really helping you who's going to be attending the orientation session, we have a specific session for them. So for New York City, it's going to be on day 2, and that's going to be from 11 to 12:30 p.m. It's pretty long because we want to give you a lot of information, but it's going to be different information from what you hear today. It'll be kind of what do you need to know midsummer before the semester starts. And in Pleasantville, that'll be on day 1 from 5:15 to 6:15. And so we're going to be covering some of that essential information that you might want to know prior to moving in. For any orientation concerns and questions, it should be directed to the emails below, and so they're separated by campus. One of the things I did want to mention is that if you are, I lost my train of thought. I'll come back to that. Anyways, for any issues with placement tests, any tech glitches, this is the people that you would reach out to. We got a question regarding how do you take your placement test. So in the welcome email, we have information on links to the placement exams. We also have information listed probably in your checklist where you can access those placement tests. So they're links that you can find in multiple places. But if you have questions, we can definitely answer that later.
If you need to switch your orientation date, so if you picked one date, that was probably what, I don't know if that was what Mohini
Yeah,
said.
that was it. Yeah.
If you need to pick, if you signed up for one orientation and then work or a family trip or something came up, you need, and you want to switch to another orientation date, you do need to email the orientation email address there for your campus and say that you're signed up for X, you want to move to Y and the reason why. And if they have an open spot on that day, for the one you're moving to, they will accommodate you. If they don't, they may tell you what other ones you can move to. They do fill up fast. So if you have not signed up for orientation yet, please do so because they do fill up fast and that they close and then you'd have to be forced into another session that might not be your preferred session.
The other thing I wanted to mention is if you are registered for a virtual orientation, they'll say you'll have to sign up for an in-person orientation. That in-person orientation is actually during our welcome week, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And so you don't have to actually attend that, but we'll talk to you all more about that during that virtual orientation session so you know more information about that. So here's another sort of like quick run through of a checklist of things to keep in mind for orientation. So first you want to register for orientation, fill out your questionnaire. That'll give you your class preferences and all of that. One of the other things to mention is that we did say in the welcome email, you have to fill out the mentee profile sheet. You don't get access to the mentee profile sheet until you submit that orientation questionnaire. So if you're looking for it and you're not sure where it is, it's because you need to submit the questionnaire first. We need you to take your placement exams by May 15th because it does impact some of the classes that you are being put in. Some of us have created schedules without the placement test, but we know we have to go in and make adjustments. And so we really need those scores as soon as possible to make sure you have the most accurate schedule and you have the best chance of getting into whatever sections you need. Please also complete the pre-orientation modules before your orientation date. It'll give you some basic information that you need to know about PACE and also just college experience. You also want to submit your photo for your ID prior to orientation. I know for some folks are trying to submit that currently, but they are opening it up once the semester finishes. So around May 15th, you should be able to submit your photo. And that way they can have your ID ready at orientation for you to pick up, if you're a commuter especially. And then we need you to take your Clifton Strengths assessment prior to orientation. They use that for some of the sessions. And please make sure you're checking your PACE email daily. We know that over the summer, we might be sending things to both your PACE and your student email. I mean, PACE and personal email, but really we're going to be transitioning to your PACE email very shortly. And so having that set up and on your phone, on your devices will be really essential in preparing for the semester. Next person or Jack, do you want to add anything?
I was just going to say, we're one of the few departments that in the beginning of the summer will send it to both because we know you're not used to checking your PACE. Housing and a lot of other departments will refuse to send it to your personal because they want you to get used to checking your PACE. So please check that every day. Admissions might be contacting you, housing might be contacting you, orientation might be contacting you. So there's us as well. So there's a lot that you could be missing. Flora, Flora will tell you about our mentoring program.
Thank you, Jackie. So every incoming freshman student is matched with an upperclassman honors student. And we have mentor representation for all the incoming majors. And so this mentoring relationship guides you through your first year at PACE. So it helps you get acclimated to the honors community within PACE in general, and then just gives you a little bit of guidance, maybe professional development wise, career development wise, internship guidance wise, that you can get from a peer outside of support that you're going to be getting from your advisors. We do, as Mohini mentioned, we do ask for you to complete the mentor profile form, which is going to be available once you complete the honors questionnaire. It'll be available after the completion of that. Go ahead and complete that because we are using that profile to match you with what your preference is for that experience. Some people choose to be matched based on major, but some people may choose to be matched based on interest. And so we encourage you to complete that profile as soon as possible so that we can work on matching you. Expect to hear from your mentor early summer, July, the latest, between June, excuse me. Within the month of June, you have communication from your mentor. And so just also just what Jackie mentioned, just make sure to keep an eye out on the PACE email because their chats and communication with you will be filtered through PACE's email address. The mentoring program essentially consists of monthly support, monthly outreach from the mentor. And then it also incorporates information and encouragement for you to attend events, both within honors as well as within PACE, and also professional development opportunities and internship-related opportunities that honors as well as PACE has to offer. So we look forward to meeting you, for you to meet your mentors as well. And Jackie, did you want to add anything mentoring?
No, I mean, and there's another side. This is a great connection for you. I'll just say on this side, we have Emmy and Vanessa who were mentor, mentee, and Emmy supporting Vanessa at graduation. And we see this all the time of that like long-term support. And let's see. And I think you said most of the things already on this slide that you'll meet, and I think you'll meet them at Welcome Week, and you can see some of our mentors here for meeting them. Oh, I think Flora, the big thing, if you want to emphasize this, of our student, please responding.
Yes, please respond to your mentor. They're eager to connect with you. And as I mentioned, they're a great resource, outside of advising for you to get acclimated to campus and get the inside scoop of a lot of things that's happening, within honors as well. So as I mentioned, just time frame wise, expect communications within the month of June. Just check your emails and just say a quick hey back, and you will officially get to meet them within Welcome Week. There are some people that even get to meet through the summer before Welcome Week. So that'll be another opportunity for you to chat, say hello, and get connected throughout the summertime.
So as we were saying, you can meet your mentor at Welcome Week and you may meet them sooner. So let's talk a little bit about Welcome Week. So Welcome Week is a tradition going on 6 or 7 years, I think now. And honor students move in and come start school a little bit earlier than everybody else. In New York City, our Honors Welcome Week is August 26th, that's a Wednesday, through the 29th, which is a Saturday. If you are residing on campus, you are going to move in on August 26th. We do not have the move-in times yet. In the past, it's been like 10 to 3-ish. sometimes 9 to 3. It's going to be in that range. You'll be assigned a move-in time closer to August, but it's in that range. It's not very late at night, but somewhere in 10 to 3. It also is building dependent. There is a parent session on August 26th at 5 p.m. All move-in is done before 5 p.m. so that the parents can attend. And this is going to be different than what you're in right now and different than the family orientation session. Family orientation session is a little bit about the summer and the 4 years ahead. The parent session on August 26th is kind of the now what. Your student just moved in. What do the first few months look like? How do we problem solve if there's any issues, if your student's calling you, giving you a lot of resources, because this may be your first student to go to college. It might be exciting, overwhelming, all kinds of things. This may be your fourth or fifth or whatever, or third, but to kind of let you know and how you can partner with us as advisors to best support your student. In Pleasantville, the dates are August 27th, which is a Thursday, through the 29th, which is the Saturday, as I said. Move-in in Pleasantville is on August 27th. The move-in times are similar to New York City. It's usually like 10 to 2 or 3. Again, we don't have those yet. It depends on how big our cohort is and what housing's doing. But like I said, housing will be in contact closer to August about that. The parent session in Pleasantville is a little different because most of our families do not stay around that night. We've realized because it's more local. So it's on August 27th. There'll be one at 12 p.m. and one again at 3 p.m. So if you're in the earlier move-in time, you can go to 12, and if you're in the later, you can go to 3. So what is Welcome Week? Welcome Week is the chance for our students to meet the rest of their year. They may have attended Pacebound, met a few students. They may go to orientation and meet, maybe if they choose one of the honors ones, 40 or 50 or 60 students, but they are not in the city going to meet the other 270 right now students, or in Pleasantville meet the other 100. So this is the chance to spend a week getting to know your cohort, who's going to be your family for the next 4 years, your support system. It's a chance, as Flora already said, to meet your mentors and kind of connect and start those bonds. It's a chance to really get to know us as the honors staff. We are going to be your biggest advocate and your support for 4 years or 5 years if you're doing a 5-year program. So getting to know us as people and getting comfortable with us. This is going to be how you find your classrooms. We're going to make sure you see where all your classes are located, and so you know exactly where you're going on the first day of school. You don't get lost. We bring in various departments different from orientation that are going to be key to kind of talk to you, get you comfortable talking to them so you could go to them for the next 4 years. It's your chance to know honors and how we work, get to know PACE. You guys are going to be the only ones basically on campus, so to figure everything out. The main purpose is so that you have this smooth transition from high school to college, that you spend the week, well, kind of shorter than a week, a couple days, getting used to everything so that by the time school starts, you are basically feel like you've been here for a while and kind of an expert. If you are new to New York City, this is your chance to get to know New York City. We go out into the city, experience the subway with like a safety net with your mentors, get to know Pleasantville and the surrounding area if that's your campus. But like I said, it's that smooth transition for your first year, and it's for you to kind of get all your feelings. You may be really excited. And that's great, but you may have homesickness and struggle with the transition because suddenly you're away from your family for the first time, or the dog, the cat, your bed, and you can feel all those feelings during this week while we're there to support you. And so the first day of school, you're just ready to go. And this has been vital. Every single year we've done this, and this is and the early move-in kind of definitely solidifies things, and students can kind of meet their best friends. We have some of the Welcome Week. This is some of our mentors in Pleasantville up here on the left. And this is, I think, Welcome Week 2 years ago, but we take this picture every single year. So you can see that's our whole freshman class. All right, and I think Emma's gonna talk to you a little bit about schedule creation, I believe.
Justin.
Oh, Justin.
Hi, also, let's talk about schedule creation. So, how do we make your first year schedules, your first semester schedules? So, first of all, most of you should have already completed that honors course questionnaire. It's a big thing that we all send out. It's got a variety of questions on there, and this includes courses that you're interested in. It includes, your career aspirations, subjects that you like. It also includes things like, are you a morning person? Are you a night person? All those things are or whether you commute. These things are all taken into consideration when we do that, right? This also includes some of your self-assessments. And so your honors advisor kind of takes your questionnaire, your self-assessments, take all these preferences into account, including your major, right? And other, transfer credits that you're bringing in. And that's what we do to kind of make your schedule. And so those have been largely kind of created for a lot of you. That might be sent out to you if you have not already received that. And so this is basically the process that we do when we are considering your schedule. And again, there are things here like when it comes to whether you're not having a course or not, if you wanted a course that maybe you didn't get, right? Just know that there's a method to our madness, right? And that, we know the trajectory of your majors and we know what the appropriate time to take some of these courses. So a lot of things get considered when it comes to creating your schedule. And then really, really importantly, if you have not yet submitted the questionnaire, please do so ASAP. There's always a few students here and there who don't submit their schedules, and so we just give them whatever's available at the end of this process. So if you want to make sure that you've got the chance to kind of get those courses that you want to get at the times that are best suitable for your schedule, please submit the questionnaire ASAP. And so there are some things that you might see on that first semester schedule. So majority of you will have a learning community. These are essentially two linked courses. In certain situations, they might be a single course. You might see them designated by like an LC on the actual schedule that you receive. And these are something that we specifically will ask you about in that questionnaire, right? The cool thing about a learning community is that you essentially get to address one larger topic from two different angles or from two different like kind of subject areas, right? And so it allows you to have this kind of multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary approach to a single subject. So most of you will have a learning community. It's a requirement to graduate with PACE. And if you don't have one, don't worry, we'll make sure you get one next semester. You might not have one just because of random scheduling concerns, right? But it's totally fine if you don't have one this semester. There's also foundation courses or areas of knowledge courses. You can just imagine these kind of your core courses, right? Math, science, public speaking. So other things that are generally required across the board, regardless of your major, although it is school dependent. So there's a sort of like a Lubin core, there's a Dyson core, and there are certain things that are kind of required for both of those two cores. So you might have some foundation courses, and this will probably depend as well on your major. For some majors, let's say in the STEM fields, we might want to put you in some math and science courses early on as prerequisites for future classes. Whereas maybe if you're in Dyson Humanities, you might not need as many foundation courses right off the bat in order to move to the next semester. You'll also have some honors courses there. You might have heard some rhetoric about honors courses. These are basically courses that we really like the professors, right? So we've vetted all these professors. We think these are some of the best professors we got here at PACE. And then two, we really think that the subject matter and the way these professors are teaching that subject matter is very interesting. But I want you to know that an honors course isn't necessarily going to be a more difficult course. It's just going to be a course that is going to be taught in a more interesting and unique way by professors that we really trust. And so you will probably also hear in other ways, you'll need 8 total honors courses or honors experience credits. You can get this through a variety of means. So you can get this by studying abroad a year, right? You will also get this when you complete your thesis. Or by doing some of our other programs, like doing the mentoring or honors advisory boards. There's a lot of ways to get these honors experience credits. And one of the primary ways of getting them will be through honors courses. And again, another great element of this is that you get to meet other students in the honors community, which will be especially important as freshmen, right? Because a lot of you will probably be in the same honors courses, living together, and then you can study together and discuss each course. Major courses, self-explanatory here. So you might have some courses specifically oriented towards your major. And just to also kind of to touch back to areas of knowledge, there might be some courses that you're in that are maybe related to your major, but are not exactly your major. And an advisor might be putting you in that course because it might satisfy another element of a core course, like an area of knowledge. Um, and so you might see a course like that if you're a poli-sci, but you have a history course, right? That history course might not apply to your poli-sci major. However, it's still not going to be like a wasted course. It will still be applicable somewhere, right? Trust the madness. Finally, you'll be in a University 101 course. This is taught by yours truly and all the other advisors here. This is College 101. We teach you a variety of things, both how to live in the city, how to live in dorms, but also how to register for classes and how to decide what you're going to major in and not. And so this is just your kind of like grounding foundational course to kind of make the most out of this experience.
Okay, so when you get your schedule emailed to you, you'll have a chance to look at it. And here are some of the reasons why you might not have a course that you requested this semester. Again, there's a method to our madness. So here are just a couple of reasons, but feel free to ask your advisor if you have any questions. But some of the common reasons, so maybe your placement test results indicated that you would need to take a different course. Your desired course was closed. You need to take another required course for your intended major. You only have a certain number of spots and room to take classes. So just remember, if there's something that you didn't get into for one semester, you will have other semesters to take it, and we'll make sure to try to help you take the classes that you want to take. You maybe have been placed into the other courses you chose. We have you pick backup options, so we're not going to be able to put you to every single class on your questionnaire. Maybe there's a time conflict between a course you're required to take and a course that you requested, maybe a conflict with your athletic schedule. Again, trust us. We are working through your questionnaire, prioritizing what you're requesting. But again, there are certain reasons why certain things might not work out for this semester, and we'll work with you to answer your questions and work through it for your future semesters as well.
Just say that I know we're using it interchangeably. Placement tests and self-assessments are the same. PACE uses them interchangeably. So if you're confused on some slides why it says self-assessment, in some places it says placement test, PACE uses them interchangeably. So they're the same thing.
But with all that said, please do let us know as soon as possible if you need to make a schedule change because of one of these things. If you are planning to change your major, that can completely drastically alter your schedule. Please let us know. If you're changing maybe within two majors that an advisor, advisor mentioned that they cover. So for example, for my students, if you're changing from film and screen studies to English, still let us know, but it may be kind of a less overhaul. But if you're changing your major to something completely different, we will need to completely revamp your schedule, most likely. If you have anticipated AP or IB credits coming in that you didn't indicate on your questionnaire or that you weren't expecting, please let us know as well. We want to make sure that you're not getting credit for something that you're bringing in. Same thing with college level courses. If there are any medical problems or concerns as you review your schedule or any work issues, please let us know as well, and we will see what adjustments can be made. But I will say, in the email that we send out with your schedules, we do indicate some classes are only offered in the evenings. Maybe some only on Fridays. I think that's less likely, but just keep in mind that there are certain things that we can't change. So we ask for your flexibility, but again, please do let us know and we will see what we can do to work with you.
And Mo's going to talk to us a little bit more about transfer credits since Emma mentioned it.
Yes, we often have many of you coming in with some form of transfer credit, so we want to just go through a little bit about what that process looks like, and I know I've been answering some questions about that in the chat as well. So on your questionnaire, we asked you to list all potential transfer credits. So these are typically through APs, IBs, or college credit through dual enrollment, maybe with a community college or another school or another university through your high school. And then we've also seen some ACE Cambridge scores, which kind of follows a similar process to maybe requesting a transcript through a college, but we'll talk about that. So for AP scores, we accept 4s or higher. The only one that we accept a 3 would be computer science A, but everything else we need a 4 or 5 for the exam in order for you to earn credit for the class. You have to request that transcript through or the AP score report through College Board and save your receipt. We often have times where students say, I've submitted my scores, but like you still say it's missing. We'll ask you for that receipt so that way we can contact our admissions team and say, hey, our student submitted it on this day. Can you see if it was downloaded on the day and just make sure it gets processed? For IBs, you need 4s or higher, and they have to be HL level. We don't take SL exams. And so you have to request a transcript through the IB.org website to be mailed to us. With the IBs, it takes a little bit longer and it is a little bit more of a follow-up. So that absolutely make sure you're saving your receipt. You can even maybe forward your advisor or general emails the transcript, receipt, so that way we know what day you sent it so we can reach out to our team. But it does take some time. For any college or dual enrollment classes, you will get credit if you earned a C or higher, but you must order an official transcript sent directly to PACE. So what does that mean? If you're currently still in dual enrollment classes, but your semester hasn't ended yet, don't request that transcript until you have all your final grades. If you have any classes, like often we have students take Project Advanced Syracuse classes, and that was like your junior year, you can request those, that's fine. But if there's anything that's still pending, you want to wait until the grades are coming in. So that can be in June. You're going to be sending it directly to PACE. So usually what you'll do is you'll Google the name of that school, request transcript. You'll select PACE. There are things like Parchment or Naviance that'll send it electronically, or you could do a hard copy. Now, if you're having a hard time, you can have it sent directly to Jackie. Her email is listed here, but please make sure you're emailing her if you're doing that, because sometimes when they do send electronic transcripts, there's a certain time frame in which they have to be downloaded. And if she doesn't know it's coming, and let's say it's over a weekend and she's not checking her email, that could be an issue in terms of that download expiring. So want to make sure you're keeping that in mind. In July, we're going to send out another form that's just going to be a transfer credit reporting form from Honors specifically. And we're going to be asking you about what are all the credits you're expecting. So that way, when we go to double check your schedule, we can make any adjustments. Your advisors need to know all the possible transfer credits you're expecting, so that way you have correct placement in your classes. We also want to make sure you're not taking something you already have credit for. If you are doing any college credits or dual enrollment, please save your syllabi as well, or ask your professors for your syllabi. Don't get rid of all of those high school stuff. Sometimes you will need some of it. But that's because if we haven't accepted the credit before, we don't know what the equivalent will be at PACE, so we need the syllabus in order to determine that. So save that and you'll get an email if you need that. If you attended an accredited school and met the minimum score or grade, then your transfer credits should count on your transcript, but they may not count towards your major or core. It might be an elective. The exception is SANS. So SANS students, we aren't accepting those transfer credits. And then you'll get a transfer credit evaluation, also called a TCE, from undergrad admissions via email, and it'll list what we've received and what you're going to get. Your advisor also has access to that too. So when we're making changes to your schedule throughout the summer, that's what we're going to be looking at. And that's also what's going to tell you if you're missing anything. Want to add anything, Jackie?
Yeah, I'll say we've experienced this before where you might have done a bunch of dual enrollment courses or a lot of APs in high school, and you may be coming in with 15, let's say 18 credits or more, be like, I should be able to graduate really early or things like that. And in some cases you will. Every first year student gets a 4-year plan from us that will let you know if you're graduating in 3, 3.5, or 4 years. We do that in September and October with all of you guys based once your transfer credits come in. But you might have taken a bunch of credits, but they might not actually help towards degree progression. So if you are, I will give an example of my own cohort. I've seen a lot of my computer science students that are coming in with a ton of like history credits or business courses, but there's no business courses built into a computer science degree. So those are all going to count towards electives. So it's not really going to help the student progress. If the student needs electives at the end in their senior year, it'll help with that, but it might not help progression. Some history courses will, but a lot of history courses for a computer science student only gets you so far. So sometimes it's not going to let you skip a semester or things like that. Sometimes it will. It just depends on what you're bringing in and how aligned it is with your major and our core requirements. So I know that sometimes is a little frustrating, but your advisor is going to explain that to you of exactly what your transfer credits come in as and how they may help you towards your major, towards possibly a minor. Sometimes we, like my computer science students, who bring in a ton of history courses. Maybe we want to add a history minor because they are basically there or one course away. And so we can talk about different combinations. So I ask that you have a little patience and trust that we know what we're doing and that we can talk to you about how they all play out. And sometimes you may have taken an AP. A great example I have is a student who took an AP in English language and is going to bring in English 120, but also took composition in a college course and is also going to bring in English 120. So they have English 120 twice. And so we're going to navigate that and try to get one of those courses to count as something else, as an elective. But sometimes your courses may be the same thing because you took it through AP in college and they equal the same thing. And we're going to go over all that. But you will sometimes see that, and don't worry, we'll figure it out. So some common questions. I'm sure there's a million questions that we've been getting in the chat that I can't see, but Chad, you want to kind of talk to us a little bit about these common questions?
Yeah, so the first common question that we usually get is when do I get my schedule? So we've already started sending out schedules and we're doing it in batches. So it really depends on when you get your questionnaire in and take your placements exams. So please make sure to do that ASAP. SANS is usually the exception to this, and it usually takes place in early June, and that's because we need SANS to send us the course information before we start making your schedule and getting your schedule to you. And the second common question is, why do I have an honors hold on my account? So essentially, the purpose of the honors hold is to prevent any changes to your schedule without talking to us first. So please make sure to contact us with any concerns or any comments or questions that you have. The hold is only on for your first semester, just so you don't make a mistake. For example, maybe registering for a course on the wrong campus, or registering for a course that doesn't fulfill requirements, or even dropping a course by accident. And the honors hold will not be on forever.
And if you haven't noticed that you have the hold yet, you may eventually, when you speak to like undergraduate admissions or financial aid or something, they may say to you, "Hey, did you know you have a hold?" And that's us. Bill, you want to talk to us kind of about what is required of our students? And we're going to spend more time on this in orientation and in University 101. So this is the Cliff Notes version. But Bill, can you kind of go through that for us?
Yeah, the big picture, Cliff Notes. First of all, you need to know that we are partners here. I put kids through high school and they were never treated as partners in their education. But we in honors are going to give you a lot of goodies and a lot of stuff on your 4 years and beyond. But you got to do stuff for us too. That's what a partnership is. So there are three basic requirements to graduate. The number of the counting shall be three. That's a Monty Python reference. First of all, you need to get your overall grade point average to be a 3.3. That's a B plus overall. That is not specifically for a semester or specific courses. It is a cumulative grade point average over your time here at Pace. B plus. And there are no weights in college grading. So if you're used to a grading system with weighting, forget about it. Secondly, and this is what Justin referred to earlier, you need to do our courses or our other experiences. You need to average one honors class or experience every semester to get to a total of 8 if you are graduating in the normal 4-year course of action. If you take a class, and again, the classes come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, innovative classes, required classes, major classes, study abroad classes, all sorts of things. But you still need to get at least a B minus in those classes to have them count. The honors classes are not additional courses. They are not more work. They are better work. And in addition to those honors classes you can take, and you get a different menu you choose every semester from that menu according to your needs, your interests, your talents, what you want to do. In addition to the list of courses, there is a way to get credit for internships. There is a way to get credit for studying abroad, either a course or a whole semester. And there is a way to get for various activities, such as the Honors Activities Board, to get credit for honors. So you need 8 of those. Among those 8, so a gimme, is the senior honors thesis. That's your third requirement. You need to give us your best college work at the end of your college life here. It can be anything you want, but it's usually in your major. It involves you working closely with a professor who is a mentor and expert in the field or materials that you are intending to use. It is quite often a research paper in a traditional fashion where you're using sources and materials from history or literature or what have you, but it can also be a creative thesis from art or performing arts or something along those lines. You work together with a faculty mentor in that field, along with Tyler, our honors thesis advisor, and you complete that, and it counts as one of your 8 honors courses as well. Do those 3 things, and you will graduate from honors. Next.
So Mohini's going to kind of tell us about some of the important deadlines coming up.
Yes. So this is an important slide to be mindful of. First is your orientation questionnaire. It's also really seems to be your honors questionnaire, schedule questionnaire. It's all the same thing. That is due by May 15th latest. Submit it earlier though, because the earlier you submit, the earlier we can get to your schedule and the earlier you can be in classes for the fall. The mentee questionnaire is also due on May 15th. Earlier is better, so we can start those matches. I know I sent an email today to all the students who are missing their questionnaire, and so if you have any questions, like I said, you need to submit your orientation questionnaire in order to get access to the mentee questionnaire. So that's kind of 2 and 2 together. For your final high school transcripts, that needs to be sent to admissions as soon as possible. We know a lot of you have not finished high school yet, so don't request that transcript to be sent yet. You can wait until after you graduate. Your guidance counselors usually know about submitting that final high school transcript, and what makes it a final high school transcript is that it has your graduation date on it. And so don't request it too early. Just make sure that maybe you do a gentle nudge to your high school guidance counselor about this after you graduate. For your AP scores and college credits from high school, they should all be sent to PACE as soon as possible. But like we indicated earlier, if you still have things pending, wait until those grades are processed so that way you don't have to pay for things twice. Immunization records are due on August 1st. That's also the same day that the tuition payment is due. Please make sure you are taking a look at your bill, your financial aid, you're accepting it all earlier rather than later. If you don't pay your bill on time or submit your immunization records, it can impact your ability to get on campus, or it can impact your ability to be in your classes and from being dropped from them. So we want to make sure that you're taking a look at that from now so you can plan accordingly, whether you need to access certain accounts to pay your bill or take out loans, whatever it may be. You want to start that early. Don't wait until August or July to do that. And then your health insurance waiver is due in September. We'll give you a specific date at orientation. What this is if you have health insurance through a parent or a family member, you can waive out of PACE's health insurance. That usually saves you a couple $1,000s, but you do have to fill out the waiver in order for it to be processed on your bill. If you fill it out and after maybe say a week or so, it's still there, fill it out again. Sometimes it has a little bit of a glitch. And if you fill it out twice and still having an issue, you can always reach out to us and we can talk to our counterparts to figure out what happened there.
To echo what Mohini said, for immunization records, we've seen this every year. Families wait until July to start paying attention to this and submit, and we strongly recommend you don't do that. What happens is, we all know it might be hard to get a doctor's appointment. You might need to wait to see your PCP. and then to get the records, and then you have to send the records to PACE. If the records are, sometimes they're handwritten, and if they can't read the doctor's handwriting, PACE is going to kick those back to you. You're going to have to go to your PCP again. Or if it's digital, we've had the issue where sometimes, especially if shots are in a series, maybe you did one of the 3 shots at one doctor in the practice or at another practice, and then the remaining 2 at a different one. And so you think you've sent in all 3 of in the series, but you actually sent in 2. And PACE again will kick it back. So sometimes we have found that our students have a back and forth with PACE over their immunization records, or if you're doing any kind of exemptions for various reasons and you need documentation, it's not as straightforward as you might think. And as I said, doctor's appointments take time. So don't leave this to the last minute. Get this started right away. You can go and start requesting immunization records from your doctor now and have this back and forth in June and July, and be ready to go for August. So please, please don't wait. You may find that you need booster shots. You might not have taken all of yours. You were waiting to take some closer to college, whatever it may be, and sometimes those are in a series as well. And so you'll need to allow time for the series to take place because they usually are weeks apart. The other thing I will say, which Taylor's going to talk about, so I'm not going to really get into it. If you are requesting accommodations, you need to start that paperwork as soon as possible. And I'm going to let Taylor talk about that in a little bit, but that is as soon as possible. Housing, these are your next set of deadlines. If you are choosing to reside on campus, this applies to you. So I'm going to kind of go through the different forms, and then I'm going to talk about the different housing options and why we do what we do and all of that. So the housing application, if you haven't already submitted it that you want to live on campus, is due June 1st. So if you were like, I don't know, maybe I'm going to commute, but now are starting to change your mind, please get that housing application in by June 1st. The housing agreement should have opened, I think today's the 8th. So I believe it opened 2 days ago. I think that was Wednesday. And that needs to be filled out ASAP. So that's you're agreeing to housing's various rules and policies and all of that, and that you agree that you're going to be in housing. And then the pre-assignment form that opens on June 1st and closes around July 1st. You have it open for about a month. This is where you go in and you select your roommates. So you put down anywhere from 1 additional person to 2 or 3 additional people. And you need to do that on that form. If you're going to go random, which is totally fine, which means you don't have people you want to be matched with, you can indicate that you have no roommate preference. Mohini went random for her freshman year, and we have a lot of students that do that. Move-in ready form is not going to be available till August 1st, and that is the kind of final checklist of everything for move-in and making sure that you're ready. It's going to also make sure you have your immunization and give you your move-in time. There's a lot. The move-in ready form, if you don't fill that out, is going to prevent you from getting your move-in time. So these are kind of the things. Housing is going to email you about all of this, usually to your PACE email, so please do not ignore your PACE email. If you attended Tuesday's webinar, you would have heard from Patrick and Joy that all emails coming from housing are going to be general emails, which means they are speaking to all 1,000, 2,000, whatever it may be, freshmen. They are not aimed at you specifically, which means that it may have move-in times of, I think the regular move-in is the 29th and 30th or 30th or 31st, something like that. It's going to have other move-in dates. It's going to have general information about matching. That is not going to be accurate for you. Move-in times, move-in dates, times, and all that is going to come from the Honors College, and anything about housing assignments and stuff like that will wind up coming from Honors at the end. So anytime you see a date that doesn't agree with what Honors has told you, Honors date trumps the housing date because they are sending general things. So I'll talk about the buildings and then I will talk about roommates. So in the New York City campus, we have 2 freshman buildings for this coming fall. We have 182 Broadway, which is more apartment style. These are doubles, triples, and a few quads that share a bathroom. So it's 2 people to a room with a bathroom, or 3 people to a room with a bathroom, or 4 people to a room with a bathroom. It's all enclosed. I often call it not apartment style, but hotel style, because it's more like a hotel room to me. Apartment, I think of kitchen and everything else, but they say apartment style. So it's like a hotel room. In Maria's Tower, that is a double bedroom. It is 2 beds, dressers, all of that. There is no bathroom within the room. There are going to be, I think it's 8 single-use bathrooms in the middle of the floor. These bathrooms are communal in the sense that anybody can use them, meaning I could go and use the bathroom when I walk out. Mohini could then go and use it. After she walks out, Justin could then go and use it, etc. But they are not communal in the sense that we're all in there at the same time. So if I go in, I lock the bathroom and it's my bathroom for as long as I want to be in there. So it has a shower stall, it has a toilet, and it has a sink. So if I want to do my whole nightly routine, I can lock the bathroom, use the shower, brush my teeth, all of that in the sink, and then unlock it. And then, like I said, Mohini or Justin can go in next and lock it. These communal bathrooms, quote unquote communal bathrooms, are cleaned by PACE as well, which is a perk, as opposed to the ones in 182 Broadway that are cleaned by the students because it's within their room. Maria's Tower, and just to make this clear again, is all doubles. 182 Broadway is anywhere from doubles to triples to quads. Majority of the rooms in 182 Broadway are triples though. So if you are aiming for a double, you want to aim for Maria's Tower. 182 Broadway, the honors floors are the lower floors. Why we do that, this has always been the case, is because they are closer to the lounge. The lounge is on the lower floor, so you could just walk down the stairs or walk down the stairs and go to the lounge. You don't have to wait for the elevators. Maria's Tower, we have the upper floors, and that's because the lounge is on the upper floor. So you could just walk up this flight or two as well. Maria's Tower has the better views. They're gorgeous. And so the higher floors have the better views. If you have questions about the dorms, you could definitely put them in the chat. I've lived in Maria's Tower. Mohini's lived in Maria's Tower. And we have, Ben could probably, he's never lived in Maria's Tower, but he could probably answer 182 Broadway as well, probably has friends, and we can talk about it. That's New York City for our freshmen. For Pleasantville first-year students, we are in Alumni Hall, which is more suite style, which is doubles, triples in the same room, and the bathrooms are broken up, which means there's a shower that locks, there's a bathroom that locks, and there is an open sink area. So it allows, you know, Mohini to be taking a shower while I'm in another room using the kind of restroom, the bathroom, the toilet. And this allows multiple people to be doing their morning routine, nightly routine at the same time. Again, it's that suite style. Alumni Hall is where all freshmen are going to be, regardless if they are mainstream students, if they're in the Honors College or not, and that's where all of our freshman athletes are going to be. We just have our own floor. So in all of these buildings, we have our own floor with our own RA, resident advisor. That is a student usually chosen by the Honors College who kind of communicates things back to us and looks out for the students. As Ben said, he is currently the RA in 15 Beekman, which is our current freshman dorms, will no longer be our freshman dorms in the fall. So if you got questions for that, he can answer that in the chat. We require all students who choose to reside on campus for their first year to live with honors. No exceptions. If you have a medical accommodation, that is basically the only exception. Why we do this, why we make our honor students live on the honors floors with other honor students, is we've been doing this a very, very long time. And when we didn't require it, we found, which was years and years ago, we found our honors, non-honors pairs or triples or whatever you want to call it, to not be a successful match. Our honor students would complain throughout the year that they were not having a good roommate situation, not having a good time, and they would consistently tell us at the end of their freshman year when we would ask, what would you do differently? They would say, I'd pick an honors roommate. We have a great example, Mohini, and one of my other people who worked for me, Maddie. Maddie, one of my former student aides, chose a non-honors roommate. Mohini was originally started as a student aide way back in the day, chose an honors random. Mohini had a great experience, so much so she continued to live with that student and is now was her maid of honor. So in her life all these years later. And Maddie, to this day, and it's been many years later, still complains about her freshman year learning, I was gonna say learning experience, freshman year rooming situation, and it brought many tears. Honor students tend to be very similar and have much better experience when they're paired together. They study the same, they want to have similar habits. They're also all in the same classes, which makes sharing textbooks, sharing things a lot easier and forming that bond. If you heard me on Tuesday, we've had a lot of honor students meet on the honors floor and fall in love and get married all these years later, or stay best friends for life. We've had students who did the honors floor a decade ago that are in each other's weddings and things like that. So having done this a lot, we have a lot less roommate conflicts. We do not require honors housing in sophomore, junior, or senior year. However, as I mentioned on Tuesday, the majority of our honors students have such a great experience. They choose to live in honors housing in their sophomore, junior, or senior year, whether on campus or they go off campus and live with honors students as well. And that's just kind of what we've been doing. And we know a lot of students are uncomfortable sometimes about this situation over the summer and then apologize to us during the school year when they say it was the best decision. For our athletes, if you choose, I said this on Tuesday, so I know I'm repeating myself, but for those who are new, if staying in athletics is very important to you and to your housing situation, we can match you with other honor students on your team. We can match you with other honor students that are athletes in the same season as you, or if you just want to be with an honors athlete, we can do that regardless of season or team. Again, I said on Tuesday, a lot of our honors athletes are happy to not live with other athletes so that they could have a break from that mentality of what's going on the team, on the court, on the fields, all of that, and make some new friends. The last point I want to stress, all roommates and building preferences must match. So if I want to live with Mohini and Flora, and Mohini and Flora want to live in 182 Broadway, but I want to live in Maria's Tower, if housing places the three of us in 182 Broadway, I, as a Maria's Tower person, might be upset. So please make sure that you've spoken with your roommates, potential roommates, and you all have the same building preference. Additionally, we all have to match. I have to request Mohini and Flora. Mohini has to request Flora and me. Flora has to request Mohini and me. If somebody forgets to request somebody else, the match may break because us, housing, and myself who do the placements might not realize that these three people wanted to live together. We may only see the match between myself and Flora, and Mohini might have forgotten to match with us, and housing can't read the mind and breaks the match. So please make sure everybody requests each other, everyone requests the same building. The new housing system, unfortunately, will let you request non-honors roommates. We will not honor those non-honors roommates requests. So please make sure you're not doing that. We will break the match. I think there's a warning on there. So it used to be you could only match with honors students in the system, but they have a new system. So that is my long explanation for that. For honors housing, we will be sending this out. We have 2 videos, and I could place these in the chat too. We have 2 videos that honor students created all on their own. The first one, as you see the bit.ly link, vid1, was created by honor students just filming their honors housing experience all in their own and then sent it to us at the end of the year and said, hey, maybe you want this. A lot of those people in that video are now married to each other or still in each other's lives about a decade later. Honors Housing Video 2 was just created this year by our Honors Advisory Board. And it talks about both campuses and athletics and what it's like to be in honors housing. And those are both on our YouTube channel. We also know you need to find a roommate. We highly recommend going to orientation to find your roommate, honors orientation to find your roommate. We also have in New York City right now, our Instagram in New York City has the ability to do a channel, and we created a channel for you to find other students. And you can place your name, interests, and photo if you want and find other students. We used to do this on Facebook, but we know Facebook is now outdated. We are working on a solution for Pleasantville because our Pleasantville Instagram does not have the channel feature yet. So we will get back to you on Pleasantville. And we will also link the Tuesday webinar in the chat as well, which has more information from housing. And the Tuesday webinar also covered student accessibility services, and Taylor's going to give you the Cliff Notes version of what happened on Tuesday for that.
Yeah, so we understand that not every student has the typical educational needs or experiences. And at PACE, we have systems set up so that you get the accommodations that you need in order to be as successful as you possibly can be. So these accommodations are reasonable adaptations that are intended to lessen the impact of a disability or an additional need that you have. So those can range from academic, which are kind of the most generally thought about accommodations. If in high school you had something called an IEP or a 504, those will be similar to what these accommodations academically are here. So that can include testing, like extended time, a proctored separate quiet space, using a computer, having a test reader, things like that. Other academic ones are note-taking services, having recordings, having printouts of slides, being able to take more breaks without needing permission, absences excused, things of that nature. For housing, you can get a single room, no more than one roommate, private bathroom, emotional support animal, things of that nature. And then for meal plans, if you have allergies, you can get exemptions or reductions. Now, I mentioned IEPs and 504s. If you did not have those in high school, that does not mean that you are excluded from getting academic accommodations in college. That just means that some people had them identified and set in place previously. Other people might not know that they could benefit from them or would be eligible for them until now. And we encourage you to, if you think that you fall under that category, please pursue it starting now because it is a lengthy process. But we want you to have everything set up and ready to go by the time the semester starts. So there's no delay and there's no additional stress on you when it comes to being successful here at PACE. In order to receive those accommodations, you do need to initiate that process. It is fully student-led. So if you come to one of your advisors or if you come up to us at orientation, like, hey, I need accommodations, like, can you start that for me? We cannot. It has to come from you. You have to self-identify and reach out to student accessibility services directly in order to get those accommodations. After you do that, you can do that by reaching out to the email addresses. They're on the page. You can see it's SASNYC or SASPLV@pace.edu. You will need to gather documentation. So depending on what the accommodation is that you need, there will need to be documentation from a relevant professional. So if you need additional testing, they might need like a neuropsychological evaluation, determining what your diagnosis is, what testing accommodations you need, things of that nature. If you have allergies and you need a reduced meal plan because you can't eat anything in the dining halls, you will likely need a letter from an allergist or a doctor describing the situation so that it can be evaluated and appropriately assigned the accommodations. You will need to do an intake appointment. So you will discuss your condition, and it's not like a full bare your soul type of situation. It is a high level explanation of what your experiences have been, the impact on your life and either academically or socially or interpersonally. And then you need to submit the documents like as a PDF so that they are kind of more official. And then after everything is completed, Student Accessibility Services will review with the team the documentation, your requested services, and how to implement them into your academic and residential life in the most appropriate and helpful manner. And then you will receive the outline and description of what your accommodations are. And then it is your responsibility to provide those accommodations to your professors or any other kind of academic individual. So if you are on a team, you have to present them to your coach. If you are working with residential life in order to get a single room or one bathroom or what have you, you will need to present those to residential life. Those are on kind of you as the student to present. We also ask that you send them to your advisor so we can have them on file as well, just in case an issue comes up that a professor is not following the accommodations or you can't find them, that someone has them as a backup. And then you will need to meet with Student Accessibility Services periodically, depending on what your accommodations are, in order to ensure that they are still up to date and relevant, because sometimes things need to be updated, sometimes things change, and we need to make sure that we are continuing to have the most accurate information available for you.
I'll just add, you can always file for accommodations and not use them. So
Yes.
you may have had them in high school and feel like felt you didn't need them as much, or I have a lot of students who have testing accommodations, and I do give like quizzes, and have felt they don't need them for my quizzes. They may want it on my final and not on my quizzes, and you can work that out with the professor, or you can never use them if that's fine too. So I always say, and we all say on this call, if you've needed them in the past or feel like you might, put them in place and you could just not use them. But you don't want to be in a situation where suddenly you feel like you do need it and you don't have it. So better to have that kind of safety net.
Because professors do not need to give you any type of accommodation unless they are officially through Student Accessibility Services. So again, better to have them than to not. And if you are going to pursue this, please, please, please start as soon as you can, because it is a lengthy process. It could take 6 to 8 weeks for the evaluation and meeting intake to happen. So you want to make sure that you get that done as soon as possible so that you're not waiting into the beginning of the semester.
So right here is all the ways that you can contact us, whether you are going to be a student in New York City or in Pleasantville. Those are both our email addresses. One for the city is honors_nyc@pace.edu, and the Pleasantville one is going to be honors_pov@pace.edu. And you can also give us a call. Somebody will answer the phone. And if you want, you can also follow us on Instagram. We have 2 different accounts, one for the city and one for Pleasantville. And that we will be posting if we have fun events or anything that's upcoming, whether it's like thesis scheduling. So if you're a senior, you could see what days the meetings are for that. And yeah.
Now, I know you've been asking questions. I'm gonna stop share. You've been asking questions, I think, as we've gone through this presentation. So this is your chance if you were waiting and holding off to see if we would answer your question on our own. I see already some people following us on Instagram. My phone is next to me. Welcome. But if you were waiting and holding off on your question, please put it in the chat now. And my staff, you can tell me if there's any questions you want me to answer live. I know one of them is we had a question for athletes. Did we consider your practice schedule or your game schedule in making your schedule? Yes. In making your academic schedule? Yes, we did. We have spoken to your coaches and we've spoken to the athletics department, and we know your practice schedule and we kind of know when your games are going to be, and we took that into consideration in making your schedule. Now, sometimes what happens is you have a course. I'll use this as an example. I don't know if it's an actual example, but maybe you need a programming course, CS 121. It's required for your major, and there may only be one section. And that you need that course your first semester, and there's only one section, and it conflicts with your practice schedule. If that is the case, don't freak out, and we actually talk to your coach and we work with your coach so that you are excused from that practice. If you miss your whole practice, if your practice is the exact same time as it, maybe you're missing the practice and the class overlap by 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it may be, we work with your coaches and they understand because you are a student as well and you do need to graduate, you do need to progress, and sometimes you have to take a class that semester and it is what it is and they understand that. You may have a game that happens, the games are every Wednesday night and you happen to have a random one on a Thursday and it conflicts. And you have a test or something like that. We work with the coach, we work with the professor, and we kind of talk about that. And you may be excused from that particular game if you've got a test on that day. You know, they do understand you're a student. So we have taken all of that into consideration. If anything changes with athletics, if they change your practice time or anything else, they let us know, and then we have to adjust your schedule. If you've already received a schedule from us, you know that we said this is a draft. That means it can change if your placement tests come in and your placement tests indicate you need to be in different courses. It may change as your AP scores come in. And it may change, or your college classes, it may change if you get a job or you're suddenly moving off campus and you thought you were dorming. There's little changes we can do over the summer. It may also change if the course time changes. We do have courses that change time because of a professor's conflict or something else. They had to cancel a course and do a different time. So you may see changes from us over the summer and we will communicate those to you. That's why you need to check your email. From my team, and like we said, we have 2 students here too. If you have any questions specifically on the student experience, any questions I should answer live from the team that you think is worth rehashing? I'm looking at my team. I will just say, I think we'll, and Ben, can you maybe like talk really quickly about, you lived in honors housing? And you're still in honors housing since you're an RA. Can you just quickly talk about that experience so they don't hear it from a staff member, but hear it from a student?
Yeah, so a little bit different experience from me because I lived in 15 Beekman and I still currently live here as an RA. And y'all will be in 2 different buildings next year, but it's just an incredible experience on both sides. So being in the freshman, and I know they kind of pummel this. No, we're actually like being legit and true. I have met my best friends on the first day of Welcome Week. And I just remember pretty much like every Wednesday and Friday night, all of us, we didn't have class. So at like 9 o'clock at night, we would be like, I'm boring, guys. I play cards. We're like, play cards? Okay. And then I would run down the stairs 2 flights, and then all of us would go and sit in my friend's quad and play cards and eat pizza and belt out Broadway until like 3 in the morning. And those are like the probably some of the best memories that I have of my freshman year, which is thankful to like those honors floors because we're only like 1 floor, 2 floors apart. It's nice to be able to have that community because, like they said earlier, like you're in the class with these people, but then you also get to go see them in the halls, and you're like, "Hey, George, help me on these like math questions. I cannot do it." And it's also really nice to move in that week early to be able to like get to know what's on campus. You can go visit some of your classes because the rest of the campus will be open. So you know on that first day where everything is. As an RA, I love it. I really do. I love being able, I'm a freshman RA, so I'm able to help. I won't unfortunately be next year, but if you guys see me around, feel free to say hi. It's wonderful to be able to give back to that community that offered so much to me and help me feel at home. Um, yeah, I mean, does that help, Jackie?
Yeah, thank you. And I know Ben didn't kind of talk about this, but I know him and his friends were always finding me in the street and be like, where do we go for mac and cheese? Where do we go for best grilled cheeses or empanadas or this? And the floor would then go, a bunch of the group on the floor would then go and explore the city and hunt down food. And I know
Yeah.
Daisy and others of the friend group still do this. So
No, I forgot to do that. Yeah, RAs, we put on a lot of events during the school year too. In addition to all the honors events, we have building specific events to help generate that sense of community. I led actually a food tour to Chinatown last year, so that was a good time.
So I think if there's nothing else, if you have additional questions, we'll hang on for a minute or two. Otherwise, for our students, keep checking your emails. For parents, we will be updating you throughout the summer as well, and hope to see you at our orientation family session. That's super important. and obviously at Welcome Week, but we will probably be sending a housing email to everyone in June when that housing, the pre-assignment form opens up and you can choose your roommates and things like that. But we will be keeping you informed every so often. But please get your questionnaires in. Please keep checking your emails, do your placement exams, and we're really excited to see you at orientation. So thank you, everyone.
Jackie, there's a question about the student experience. Could we have Ben or Melissa just talk about that real quick?
Sure.
The question was, for students, how is it balancing your classes while having time for yourself? Do you have some free time, make time on certain days?
Okay, so have Ben kind of talked about like what's it like being dorming on campus, but me personally, I commute from Brooklyn. I grew up in New York, and so I commute every day to school, and it's definitely it's definitely a different experience than dorming on campus, but wait, sorry, this was a question about time, right? Sorry, okay. So each schedule has the common hour. So at school we have common hours. So each schedule is made where you have time blocks where you don't have class. So you have time to eat lunch or have breaks from classes. And I often use that time to study or do work or go to clubs because that's when usually clubs meet. And that's definitely where you can have like these time blocks to have more free time. I don't know if Ben wants to add to that.
Yeah, I think part of college is also being very intentional with what time you have. So in high school, it's a very like 7:30 to 3:30, 4:30, whatever. And then you go home. At college, you have a bit more range of choice. Especially within like what classes you take. Eventually you'll be able to choose what schedule works best for you. You'll be able to choose maybe I want to go to this club, maybe I want to go to that time. And so one of those choices is how figuring out how to balance academics with life. Because you're coming to college not only to learn the academics, but how to be a person. And so that's honestly just going to take some time, and you're going to figure out what works best for you. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Honors College is that Mohini knows so many times I come onto her door being like, dude, I can't do it. And then she's like, no, child, you're fine. Um, and, and so that's one of the nice things too, is having that support system that can then show you and guide you within that process. I hope that answers some of your question.
I see if I saw a hand. If you have the question, please put it in the chat. We're not taking hands right now, but I will say, kind of piggybacking off of Ben, we do make sure there is a balance. We like to have a lot of fun. We have a lot of events on campus, Bagel Mondays, cookies and conversations, movie nights, all kinds of stuff. We know that honor students do spend time studying and everything, but we also want to have a lot of fun. And we in University 101, the academic advisors are there to make sure the students can learn that balance and figure it out. And it does take time, but that's what we're here for as well. And I think, we'll kind of end with that. If you have more questions, we'll hang on for a few more minutes just to make sure any question that pops into Q&A is answered, written format, and we will this recording will be available on YouTube, like I said, on our YouTube channel next week. But otherwise, we're saying it again. Thank you for joining us tonight, and like I said, we'll stay on for another minute or two if you have Q&A in the chat. Thank you. We'll be ending in like 1 minute. So if you've got that last remaining question, put it in. Otherwise, we'll be closing this Zoom session. Thank you, everyone. If you still have any remaining questions and didn't get to put them in the chat, feel free to email us and we will see you at orientation. Good night, everyone.